Come on in.
Sorry, I tried to catch you before you shut the door.
You're okay.
That I sent you an email about a little desk that we were gonna get for my office, and in replace of these, just to, like the communal supply. the communal supplies. Are we good to get that?
I didn't see it. How much is it?
$120.
Done. Do it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing? I know we've got more people getting ready, looks like, to log on. And we'll go live to Facebook here too. Good morning, Roy. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning.
Good morning. You had a pretty good day yesterday. And you wrote that one policy and
yeah, the other one's lined up. I just she did have a claim and she wasn't sure whether it was within the 5 years or not. So she's looking up the paperwork and she's supposed to call me back today.
Got it. Okay, good. Well, that's awesome, man. So we'll put sales training. All right. Join us now. Awesome. And Brooke, how are you doing?
Hey, Doug, I'm hanging in there.
You hanging in there? All right, cool. And hang on, I'm trying to get us on. Sharing on Facebook here. Awesome. And I'll pull up our meeting. I've got some good stuff to share with you guys on the call live and those that are, we've got a bunch of people that watch on demand. Have permission to create a live video. Huh. Interesting. That's weird. I'm trying to share, Brooke. I don't know the last time we did this. It looks like Zoom's a little different. It's or maybe Shelby knows on this, but it's not letting me go to Facebook. It's saying subject does not have permission to create live video on this group. Any idea on that?
It's really weird. I don't know why it would say that. Did you go to the 3 dots?
Yeah, and then it bridged me over, and then
oh no, now your screen's green.
Yeah, now I'm trying to, and it just says live stream meeting. It says, so I would go share to group. Yeah, share to group. And then I do strategic insurance and insurance side hustle. That's weird. And it says it doesn't have permission. Okay, I'll check that out later. All right, I will go and share my screen now. Come on in.
Maybe.
Yeah, so this, I'm trying to share to Facebook, and it looks like Zoom. It looks like the integration is different. It says subject does not have permission to create a live video on this group. I don't know if you've seen this, or does this look new?
Click on, and you clicked on go live.
Yeah.
I gave you that. Where's your Zoom at? Click on that. Where's your
my Zoom's right here. So then I did. Guys, just hang on one sec if you don't mind.
Go to more.
Yeah, I did that. Then I went live on Facebook. Oh, wait, maybe I wonder if there's 2 live on Facebooks here. Where is it? Come on. Get back my through.
Sharing your screen.
Oh, good point. Well, I wasn't sharing it earlier, though, but.
Yeah, click on that.
Is it live on Workplace or just live on Facebook, right?
Why does it look different?
I think it's new, and I'll just put sales training. And then share on timeline, share to group, and then
Type in S.
there you go, strategic insurance, and then go live. And I get that error.
Okay. After your meeting.
Yeah, I'll have you check it out.
I could just post the video on.
Yeah.
Facebook.
And let's also find out. Maybe we'll check in with Zoom or something.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. I always say technology is great when it works. When it doesn't, it is a pain. And then you know what? I'll pull up our sales meeting here. I was working on last night. I've got two really good kind of sales training things that I'm going to share today. One is on optimism, and then the other is on navigating your sales career. So let's see here. Pull this up. And all right, now we're cooking with gas. All right, well, gang, good morning, everybody. I know people watch this on demand on Facebook at times, and obviously we got a few on right now. So we're doing our sales meetings basically first and third Wednesday of the month. So is really what we're teeing up now to try and provide extra training and support. So our Hawaii sales contest almost over. Looks like we do have 2 advisors that are going to be going. It looks like Craig Balco and Tony Mella are going to be going to Hawaii on strategic. So that's pretty cool. So it's, again, for those of you that are new or that are like, wow, let that be motivation, seeing other people are doing it. And then I'm going to be starting a summer sales contest coming up. I'll probably announce that at our next meeting in early May. And that'll probably start towards the end of May or early June. So I'm working kind of on final details on that, but that'll be something fun as well. I may be doing 2 nights at the Ritz. So if you've ever been to the Ritz-Carlton, you've never been to the Ritz-Carlton, really high-end fancy pants hotel. So we'll probably be doing like 2 nights at the Ritz, or depending on where you're at. I know we've got people kind of all over. Really high-end, nice hotel on me for if you're able to hit that. So again, details to follow on that. In terms of our motivational moment, again, always trying to give you guys something that, hopefully can encourage you, get you going, make you think about what you're doing and how to continue to achieve more than really what you've even ever thought, right? That's so much of what we do. And we're going to talk about that even in our training here in a minute. But I'm a big John Maxwell fan. If you guys have not listened to or heard of much John Maxwell, I strongly encourage you checking him out. He's got a ton of stuff online. I'm going to pull up now. If you go to YouTube and you just type in John Maxwell, you'll see a lot from him. He's written multiple best-selling books, a lot on sales, leadership, marketing, just really, really good stuff. So I'd really encourage you, if you're looking for something to listen to this week, check him out. He's also got a really good podcast called the John Maxwell Leadership Podcast that oftentimes when I'm at the gym or running or working out, I tend to listen to a lot of his stuff. So anyway, his thought of the day, there's no success without sacrifice, right? So just what a good statement. And I thought about this recently, again, locally here, the core team, our core team here, as we refer to, really surprised me the other day with an anniversary party. So we just celebrated 15 years. It was 15 years ago, actually almost to the day, April 20th, 2006, that I officially incorporated strategic insurance and started. And, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of long nights, a lot of hard work, a lot of no's, a lot of challenges with team members, challenges with vendors, challenges with carriers, challenges with clients, you name it, right? So, and, feel really blessed where we're at now and the future growth and opportunity that we have here. And, I'm not just sharing that about me, but I think if you look at any company, any person, anyone, anything you've achieved in your own life, there's normally a level of sacrifice, right? There's normally a level of effort. There's normally a level of, I'm not able to go to this. I'm not able to do this because I'm sacrificing for that. And again, just encouraging, all the team and people that are listening on demand. If you come to me and you say, this isn't working, I'm not making what I thought I would make, I'm going to come back to you and say, show me what you've been doing. Show me where have you been sacrificing? Are you working past 5 o'clock at times? Are you up late? Are you up early? Let me see your prospect list. Let me see your calls. Let me see your contacts. Let me see your effort. And I don't say that meanly or trying to be flippant or anything, but I know, and I've been in this business long enough, and take me out of it, right? Like, I'm not trying to sit here and say I've got it all figured out, but people I look up to that are very successful in this business, those are the things they've done. They've had to put that time, energy, and effort in. There's no magic in really anything where people achieve any level of success, right? There's got to be that output. There's got to be that sacrifice. And so several are doing that. And frankly, the ones that do it are the ones that are normally, making more money, leading, winning sales contests or qualifying for sales contests and things like that. So I say that kind of as your coach, mentor, leader, whatever you want to look at me as, is just that encouragement to say, if in your own mind, you're like, yeah, I don't know about this, it's not working. Well, is the opportunity not working, or are you not working the opportunity? Right. And again, we believe we're providing you guys with all the fertile ground, if you will, to be successful, from carrier access to trainings like this, to service center, to quotes on demand or quote assistant on the front end, to really trying to help people succeed. You have to walk through that door, right? So we can't do it for you. So I hope that sticks with you. And just remember, there's no success without sacrifice. So on that note, and kind of into our next thing. So this is a book that we've gone through from time to time that I got a few years ago. I really like this book. It's, and I'm kind of holding it up for people that are watching or can see. So it's called 262 Days to Be a Better Sales Professional. And the reason it's 262 is there's 262 business days in the year. And so it's almost written like a devotional, and just really, really good. So I wanted to pull up now, and we'll go through a couple of the things in the that I found last night that, again, I just thought would be really positive for you guys, encouraging for you guys. I'm going to, looks like the email I sent myself last night didn't go through. So I'm going to resend that so that you guys can see it on the screen. And then we'll also post this to Facebook, to our group. So, and even as I'm doing this right now, the first one, just to let you know, and again, we talk so much about these items around here. First one here, day 116, is on optimism, right? And I talk so much about mindset and professional development because it's such a key point of being a really good salesperson. That's the reality. Like, everything starts in your mind. Everything starts with a thought. Just, it's really as simple as that. So, a lot of people don't necessarily think of that. A lot of people don't necessarily work on that and think about that. And, even tying together, as I'm trying to save this here so I can make it a little bit bigger. Even thinking about that first segment sort of that we just talked about in terms of motivation, our motivational moment, and saying, what are you sacrificing? So, the sacrifice may be as simple as, well, instead of coming home and binge watching Netflix and, Stranger Things or whatever's popular on Netflix. I really don't even know, to be honest. Not that I don't watch some Netflix, don't get me wrong, but instead of watching that, maybe you pick up a book and read. Maybe you listen to a podcast. Maybe you watch something that's going to teach you and be motivational and be encouraging, right? Those are the kind of the thoughts of, well, how can I sacrifice to grow? And again, you're kind of seeing a few of these streams tie together here. So I'm going to pull this up here. I'll read it on my end. Again, I hope it comes through so you guys can at least see it a little bit here. And so here's the first one on optimism. Let me see here. Hopefully this pulls up a little better. Okay. All right. And let's see. Here we go. Okay. So it says optimism is a multi-dimensional street. You can have it, you can give it, and you can receive it. Optimism is your internal belief that things are going to work out well. It doesn't matter if it's your health, your money, your relationships, or anything else. If you're an optimist, you believe in your core that whatever you are experiencing in life will work out for the better. And then he goes on, he say, I believe some people are born optimists. They have and will always see the positive side of life and possibilities. Not all of us are that lucky, but I have good news for you. Optimism can be learned. It's like any other mental conditioning skill. If you work on it with diligent practice, you will achieve the desired result. Here are a few tips that will help you become an optimist and elevate your sales career. And again, guys, think about this. So he's basically saying, look, some people may be more optimistic than others, but it's something you can learn. It's something you can practice. It's something you can work on. And again, this is sort of a rhetorical question. I know there's only a few on the call live now, but be honest with yourself and say, are you naturally optimistic or are you naturally pessimistic? Right. And again, one of the things we've shared is, watch your thoughts, catch your thoughts almost, because oftentimes it's not even what we speak, but it's just what we think. Right. And there's no doubt, especially in sales, when you're dealing with the natural day-to-day of people say no, people fall off, you think you're going to get something that you don't, it can be easy to go to a negative spot. So here are some tips of what he's suggesting. So he says, when faced with a potentially negative situation, stop and think of the other possibilities. There's absolutely no other way around the situation. Think how you can make the best of it with the least amount of damage. Okay. So for example, you've got a potentially negative situation. Let's again, really talking with sales here. So you're saying, hey, I've worked really hard. I quoted this client's home, an auto, an umbrella, and I thought I was going to get it. And now it doesn't look like I'm going to. So what are some things that you can do? How can you overcome that? Well, first off, we often go to the negative over the positive, and depending on what spot you're at in sort of the sales cycle there, if it's like, well, I haven't heard back from the person and I don't think I'm going to get it. Perhaps you change that and say, maybe that person is sick right now and it's not that they don't want to go with me or my option, but likely they're just out of pocket, right? So one of the things we've often talked about too, and again, I just encourage you think of your own life, is you never know what's going on in the other person's world, right? They could have family issues, health issues, work issues. Again, think of all the different things that you face in your own life, right? I mean, right now, and bless her heart, Brooke's on the call, but she's sick. She's working from home. So instead of just going to that negative and saying, I'm not going to get the sale or the deal, create a different story around it, right? That's a really good opportunity to sort of transfer from a negative to a positive and keep yourself engaged, okay? So the second thing he says is look back and remind yourself. He says you've probably faced many tough situations that you made it through. Think about those situations and what you did to help yourself and what you did to adjust, and remind yourself that you did make it through. So again, going back and saying, okay, well, can you think of a time? It's funny, and I don't know why I'm thinking of this right now. This was earlier on. This was probably, gosh, I bet this was 8 to 10 years ago. And I was working on a plastic surgeon. So it was a plastic surgeon. He was buying and building. Inherently with doctors and surgeons, while they may be the final decision maker, they're not the ones doing most of it. There's an operations person or controller or whatever. And it was right before the end of the year. They were closing like December 31st. And man, I had met, worked, gone back and forth, kind of got an email from the controller saying, well, we're not sure. We may go with the other guy. And I was so disappointed. I mean, I can remember it so vividly. I remember the plastic surgeon, uh, kind of a quirky guy. And I remember the controller guy's name's Tom, and, or was, that guy's long since gone. So I can remember that moment. And here's where I'm going with it. He ultimately came back and I got the deal and we wound up getting it. And at that time it was a pretty big account. I mean, it was, I don't know, a $10,000 or $20,000 account. I mean, frankly, it would still be a pretty big account. Here's my point. You know, what can you look back on that you can think of in that situation? So how can you sort of pay that forward present day and say, okay, you know, here's the situation I'm in right now. But instead of saying, oh yeah, it's not going to go through, it's not going to work out or whatever, how can you grab, and my wife and myself talk about this a lot in our life and our relationship and our faith walk with the Lord, is a foothold. Like, you have these footholds that you can look back on, right? So how could you use something like that in the moment right now where you're not quite sure what's going to happen and say, oh, that's right. Remember that deal 8 years ago that I thought I wasn't going to get, that I worked really hard on? Well, I got that. Oh, that's right. Remember? And then start trying to stack that up. And here's what's really powerful. And here's what I'd encourage you to think about. What happens a lot of times is if you're in a tough spot, or you're very like emotionally wrapped up in a case or with a client. And this happens because a lot of times people take it as a rejection of themselves. If you're honest, or if most salespeople are honest, when they don't get the deal or they don't get the case, they take it as a rejection of you. And oftentimes that's not the case at all. I mean, there's always traditionally, I mean, it can be, but 9 times out of 10, it could be price. It could be relationship that person has with someone else. It could be coverage. There's a myriad of things other than, well, I don't want to work with Roy. I don't want to work with Doug. I don't want to work with Brooke. Okay. But a lot of times we associate that. We take it as that rejection of you. And then really what happens, and why I feel like all of this is so important and worthwhile in talking about, is then what happens to the rest of your day. So let's say you've worked really hard on something and you're wanting to, you know, you're thinking you're going to get it and you don't. And then, you know, maybe you haven't thought through this stuff. Maybe you're not actively as engaged in sort of this, hey, how can I be optimistic? How can I kind of change my reference point? What can I do in a positive way? And then your whole day is kind of shot. Have you been there? I have. Okay. Be honest, right? So that's where, to me, this is also critical, because it's also saying, really, regardless of whatever happens with the case, how do I make sure that I'm controlling my mind in a way that I don't then lose the productivity for the rest of the day, right? So then he goes on, number 3, says, read and listen to positive and inspirational books. Seek out stories that can lift you up, show you how anything is possible. Again, we talk about this quite a bit. We try and give you guys a lot, just either on Facebook or some of these trainings. No shortage of stuff out there, guys. You can read, you can listen. There's all sorts of stuff. And I would really just encourage, you know, pick something and that really resonates with you, and you know, be consistent with it, right? The other thing I'll add, the book I read years ago called The 4-8 Principle, and a really, really good book. And one of the things that really stuck with me out of it is the first 30 minutes of the day and the last 30 minutes of the day are by far the most important for your mind, and your mind to sort of be programmed. So what does that mean? Well, if I go to bed watching the news and I wake up watching the news and I do that for a year consistently, I'm probably going to think and feel one way. If I were to say the last 30 minutes of the day and the first 30 minutes of the day, I listen or read something motivational or encouraging or something funny, or if you're a person of faith, something that's going to build your faith, and I do that consistently for a year, I'm probably going to feel much differently, right? So be aware of that. Just, you know, those are facts. And then the last one is really watch who you're around. Stay away from negative people, right? They'll drag you into their world. And he says there's a cliche, misery loves company. So, you know, think about that. And we very much try to have an encouraging environment and team here. And again, I I think we've got the best team we really had in 15 years. And, that's really, we've tried to be really intentional with that. Think to yourself, who am I around that maybe I don't want to be around anymore? That's a big one. And that may be in your personal life. That may be in your work life. That may be in, family circles, a variety of things. So, Roy, you're asking about the second book.
Yeah.
I think, that was so it's the 4-8 principle by Tommy Newberry. And let me see if I can pull it up here. See if I can get it on Amazon. I'll tell you this too. It's a pretty little easy book to read. It is a faith-based book. It's based on Philippians 4:8 a little bit, but what I'll say in my recollection, and again, not to overdo here, depending on, where people are at, whether they're, a person of faith or not. And I always tell, look, you don't have to be a person of faith to work with me at all. I am, Jesus changed my life 11 years ago. And a lot of who I am is because of the word of God and my faith. But I love everybody and everybody's open. So I just, I always try and find this balance when I share and kind of teach. So what I'll say though, my recollection of it is it's not overtly, you're not going to feel, if you're not a person of faith, you're not going to feel like, oh man, I'm getting sort of a sermon here drilling me over the head. Cause that's, I can understand for some people that's not what they want. But basically, and the reason why it uses Philippians 4:8, and I'll tell you this, I mean, here's another little trick, if you will, and this is something I've done, and specifically with that verse, is create an acrostic or create a memory hook. And so Philippians 4:8 in the Bible says, dwell on things that are pure, lovely, admirable, noble, and true, right? So I created that in my mind, plant, P-L-A-N-T, so I can remember it, right? And even in the Bible, it doesn't actually have the words in exactly that order, but I put it in that order because I wanted an easy way to remember it. And again, like I said, take Christianity, the Bible out of it altogether. That's a good statement. Dwell on things that are pure, lovely, admirable, noble, and true. So the whole point of the book, and really why it does dovetail so nicely with this, is, really thinking about your thoughts and choosing your thoughts and trying to pick things that are going to really encourage and uplift you. And his title, and it's a New York Times bestseller, Secret to a Joy-Filled Life. So that's on that. So kind of last thing. Say again, Roy?
I said, love it. Thank you. And it's on Audible. I'm about to renew my subscription.
Awesome, buddy. Well, that's great. Yeah. Let me know if you read it. Let me know anything you get out of it that you like. So, that's kind of a overview on how he's looking at optimism. And again, this is right out of a sales book, right? He said here kind of at the end, in sales, if you approach each deal optimistically, meaning that you believe in your heart you will win it, your chances greatly increase in making the sale. You can believe that or not. I take every advantage I can get, right? So that would probably be a really good takeaway. Go in assuming, not arrogantly, but assuming you're going to get the sale. A lot of sales guys and a lot of life, by the way, is confidence, right? And if you think about this, Tony Robbins he's got a great line. He says, the most person confident normally wins in a conversation, right? So people sense that, people feel that. We've talked about some of this before. So, and, that can be hard when you're starting out. You're like, geez, Doug, I don't know. Like, I'm just learning stuff. Well, you look and say, well, what can I do to build confidence? Well, can you be a friendly person? Can you be a positive person? Can you be a compassionate and empathetic person, right? All of those things start to build confidence. And then, The other thing just to add is we're really digging deep on this kind of concept of optimism in sales. They say the best time to make a sale is when you've just made a sale, because there's something pretty powerful. And I wrote a couple policies this week. I mean, I've written this week myself, I've written about $30,000 worth of commercial insurance. Okay. Which is pretty good. There's something powerful when someone says yes and gives you money. That's the reality, right? And, I know we're all wired a little bit differently, but if you're really competitive, you like to win, you kind of like this sales game. You like the quote unquote, the thrill of it, right? Think about how you feel when you close that sale. When the client says yes, they give you money and you've got it, right? Just kind of sit there for a minute, right? You're going to feel a certain way. Well, leverage that in a positive way. That very well may be the next best moment to say, once you've wrapped that up, to go call, a handful of new prospects, or go call a handful of quotes that you've got pending, right? Strike while the iron's hot. That's another great saying. That's that concept. Okay. And then, the last thing he says, list 3 things you can do to make you a more optimistic person. I think that's a really great question. And I'll tell you what, when I repost this in Facebook, I'll probably even lead with that, because again, that can look a little different for everyone. I mean, you certainly have heard a lot of ideas right here, but you've got to choose and say, well, what does that look like for you? Like what for me in my world, in my psyche, my whatever, will help me become a more optimistic person. Okay. I think that's a really, really good thing. The last thing I would encourage you guys on this note, and again, this is a really good idea for it in terms of optimism. And actually it's funny, because thinking about this book, this 4-8 principle, I'm remembering a story in there of, so the guy's name's Tommy. He's got a son who's like 14 or 13, who's really into sports, like really into basketball, really good at basketball. And he breaks his arm. And the son's like really, really down, like really upset, really negative, really down. And that's kind of understandable, right? Like, think about that. You're 14, like that's your world, and you break your arm, you can't play basketball anymore. And I'm going to tie this real quick together with this thought and sharing this. So one of the things that Tommy did with his son in that moment, or, let's say the weeks after, he's in the cast and kind of recovering and everything, is saying, let's write a list of all the things you can do. And they came up with like 17 or 18 things. And one of them, by the way, was like, well, I could still play basketball with my left hand, right? Now, maybe not formally in a league setting and all that, but he could still do that at his house. So really, where does that go? When's the last time you've just written out a list of what we would call like a gratitude list? Like, what are all the things I'm thankful for? What are all the things that I can say, wow, I'm so blessed because, and oh, by the way, and I did this probably 2 months ago. I try to do it every few months, sometimes better than others. But just like, if you were able to get up and walk today, you can talk, your body is in relatively good shape and minor or no pain. How many people would kill to be in that situation that can't walk, can't talk, can't read, can't, you fill in the blanks. Right. So it's a very powerful thing to really try and do a deep dive into, what am I really grateful for? Right. And of course, then it's okay, my wife or my kids or my family or my home or whatever those other things are. But even just the very basics that we take for granted, like, you can see, how precious is your sight? When's the last time you just said, wow, I'm so grateful I can see, right? There are people who can't or struggle greatly to see. So those are going to be really, really powerful things. And again, depending on who's listening to this and when, I get it, because I've been there. I was there years ago when I was in my 20s, where I'd hear some of this stuff and I just kind of roll my eyes and I'm like, really? Like, what? This is what I'm just trying to sell insurance. Like, that's what you may be thinking. Like, I don't really buy in all your professional development mumbo jumbo or whatever. I'm just trying to sell insurance. And I get that. And really, I'm spending this time with you because here's what I know. If you want to get good at selling insurance, you got to get good at your mindset. If you're not good at your mindset and your mindset sucks, you're not going to be good at sales, period. Game, set, match. So those of you that are kind of like maybe younger or even older, but just skeptical, I get it. My question to you would be, have you ever taken this stuff seriously and tried it? Or do you just blow it off? Do you ever have you ever listened to anything, professional development, motivational? Can you point to one book you've read? And I've read, I don't know about hundreds, but I've read a lot and listened to a lot. Can you point to one to say, man, I gave this a try? And if you haven't, I would strongly encourage you right on that note of 3 things you can do to change and be more optimistic is starting there. So anyway, so that's, pretty good, I think, segment on optimism from this guy's name, Louis Bernstein. The second one here that I want to go to is make sure their objection is resolved. And I thought this was a really good one too. So, what Louis talks about here is, here we go. Hang on. If I can get to optimism. Hang on here. It's coming. What he talks about here is, are you kind of getting to the real objection? And are you really understanding what they want, what they're needing, what they're looking at? And so right here, it's, make sure their objection is resolved. And he's kind of funny. So he says, I'm a guy, so I'm pretty literal. This is a source of real frustration for my wife. If you don't spell it out for me, it usually goes over my head. So depending on how many guys married on the call or that listen to this, maybe guys can relate. I know I can relate to this. It occurred during to me in my course of my sales career that a lot of salespeople, men and women, don't act like my wife has decided to act. When it's my sister's birthday, she'll say, it's your sister's birthday. Ha, like I didn't remember. I'm about 50% sure I did. Then she'll add, you're supposed to send her a gift. Why does she add that part? Because she wants a confirmation from me that I know it's my sister's birthday and need to send her a gift. Okay, so here's the turn. Where are we going with this from a sales perspective? When you hear an objection from your prospect and respond accordingly, you need to get confirmation from them. You've answered their objection to their satisfaction. I would really highlight there in that sentence, by the way. Like if I look at, what are some of the most important words in that sentence, THEIR, their satisfaction, super important. Okay. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. If you don't, your prospect will move ahead in their buying cycle. So here's a great thing to ask. Here's some things to ask. Did I answer that question in your satisfaction? Does my answer make you feel more comfortable? I really love that one. That's a really, really good one. Is that okay? Have I addressed your concerns? Again, those of you that have listened to me or worked with me long enough, I want you to really think about how often do I say to you, does that make sense? Are you with me? Are you following me? Okay. Now, you could certainly say those things to a client as well. I would encourage you watch your tone or how you say that. The whole point is, and he kind of says at the bottom here, remember to take nothing for granted. Assume nothing. It can cost you big and you might miss an important birthday. So really, here's the takeaway, guys. And this is called mirroring or active listening. So someone says to you, and I'll give you a great example. Like one of the accounts I just closed this week, I was telling you guys, I wrote some commercial insurance. I got a referral from a financial advisor who has a dentist, a pretty good sized dentist. And it's a husband and wife. The wife's like the office manager. And she calls me and she says, hey, I want to look at my group benefits. By the way, and I didn't get her group benefits yet. We'll be getting that. I just wrote her business office policy. And now we're looking at her auto and we're going to be looking at her home and everything. But the first conversation and call basically goes, when, I get the referral, will kind of tell me what's going on. Why are we talking? I might have said something like that. And she said to me, to be honest, and this is like ideal, right? Like you don't tee it up much better for me than this. She said, well, here's the deal. I had an insurance agent that I really liked for years. His name was Fred, and Fred handled everything for me. Fred did my business. Fred did my home. Fred did my annuity. Fred. Well, guess what? Fred died last year. Poor Fred, though. So Fred died last year and she got referred to another agent that I actually know that's not too far from here. And she said, you know what? He's not doing a great job. His service is really bad. I don't hear from him. He doesn't seem to understand. So again, this is like on a platter for Doug here. So I repeat back and I say to Madeline, if I'm hearing you right, you're really looking for a trusted advisor that can help you with a multitude or a variety of your insurance policies that can give you good service, good rates, and good coverage. Am I understanding you correctly? Oh yeah, that's what I need. That's what I want. You know, we had probably 2 or 3 conversations after that, and we just wrote an $8,500 policy. And now we're going to look to roll over group benefits. And we're quoting her auto. And we'll probably pick up her home. And on and on and on. And we're quoting her a commercial umbrella, right? So really thinking about in that scenario, and I'm not saying that if I didn't do it, okay, maybe I wouldn't have got it, but really trying to listen to what the client's saying and then repeat it back. Frankly, that's really what you're doing. They could have said something like, well, I want to make sure that the carrier is there to pay my claim, right? That can be a common objection. So if I hear that, I may say something back like, so if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like the financial strength and stability and claims paying ability of the carrier is really important to you. Is that what I'm understanding? Oh yeah, man, I had a carrier years ago and they went out of business and I got hosed, or, you know, they never paid, or it took a year to get paid, or whatever, right? Kind of lean into that, lean into it, repeat it back, make sure you understand. Because here's the other thing. When you do that and you repeat that back, you may get, no, that's not what I meant, Doug. I never had a problem with the carrier. I just never heard from my agent. Oh, okay. So if I'm hearing you right, having an agent that really communicates with you and is prompt and answers your questions thoroughly, that's important to you. Am I hearing you right? Does that make sense? Yes, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I need. Okay. And if you think about it throughout the sales cycle, this comes up quite a bit. Again, you may already be doing this and you're just not aware of it, or you may be glossing over it very quickly. What I would encourage you to do, like I said, is lean in these moments. When you hear the objection, whatever it is, repeat it back, probably in somewhat of a different format, so you're not sounding like you're mocking the person, okay? And then really spin or turn to what the solution is. And if you're kind of like, well, geez, I don't know what the solution is, call me. I'd love to talk to you because we have solutions, people. If you're in a pinch and you forget, we've talked about this quite a bit, and this is one of the reasons why we have it up here. And I'm not saying it's going to answer every question, but probably a lot, is why us? You know, here are specific things that you can point to that we do, our agency does, our team does to help make it easier for clients. Annual protection reviews, client for life approach on our account management team, technology, independent over 75 carriers, dedicated claims process, one-stop shop for all lines, over 250 5-star Google reviews, right? Very quickly. Again, not saying it's going to solve everything, but probably going to answer a lot. Okay. So, and then the sales homework here, it says list 3 additional questions you can ask your prospect to make sure that everything is good with your answer to their objection. Okay. So again, this kind of goes to, and I would encourage you guys, and maybe I'll add this sort of in the beginning of the Facebook post as well of you know, quote unquote homework or something to think through, but is, excuse me. And again, I've been doing this a very long time and you see patterns. Some of you that are new or really have never done sales before, haven't done insurance sales, or still newer to insurance sales, or maybe you're a life health person, but you're kind of trying to get your arms around P&C or vice versa, is think about some of the objections you're hearing, right? Like the next time you hear an objection from a client, write it down. And then really think, okay, well, how do I answer that? Again, if you're not sure, email me, text, call, whatever, send me a smoke signal, something. And I'd be happy to talk through that with you. That's the heart of what we're trying to do right here. And I promise you, if you spend a little time on that, it's going to help tremendously. Okay. So that's kind of on answering clients' objections. All right. As we get to wrap up in the next few minutes here, couple things, and we try and talk about this each meeting, things that we're doing to help you grow and sell more. Okay. I recently started this, several of these things. I know, and I love, it's like Roy's on the call and I'll say Roy's doing great. And, I think one of the reasons is he's engaged, right? It's kind of a pretty classic thing. Like the people that engage more, just if anything in life, tend to do better. But so take advantage of our done for you quoting, right? Where our back office team is here to help you with your quotes, and also binding. We've also, by the way, tried to simplify this so you guys don't have, a million emails to try and remember. And we're just saying quotes at Get Strategic, you can use for both quoting and binding, right? So now you're not, oh, well, how do I bind? You can just send it all to quotes at. Again, the concept here, you do either the fact finder or a deck page. We've got to get the amount of, a minimal amount of info to the back office to help you quote. And then the back office team will start to run quotes for you. Okay. Remember, those are going to be the initial quotes from there. Again, like we talked with Roy yesterday, let's say it comes back, oh, Edison's the best option. Then it's your responsibility to go into the system, go into Edison, pull reports, whatever things it may ask to make sure you've got a firm quote. So they're really, the service team is there to help you really do that initial heavy lift. Okay. We've already talked about Xylo forms where we've got these forms. Again, this is sort of already built in, not a lot you need to know. That's already built into what we're doing, where we changed on our toolbox here. And we've got these Xylo forms that, again, are going to streamline processing with easy links and just trying to make life a little bit easier for all parties, including the back office team. We've also talked about Smart Agent, that we've got a partnership with them, that we've got access to all 50 states. And I'll put this on here too. And I'll put it in the meeting notes right here. So we've got access to all 50 states. So if you say, oh, I've got a client in Illinois. Okay, well, you can click this link. You can click Illinois. You can scroll down. It's the Smart Start personal lines, and then say, oh, wow, here's the carriers I have in Illinois. Okay. So it's a really easy way to get access out of state for a variety of things. We also have commercial lines out of state as well. And then, so that's on the kind of the Smart Start front. The other thing to highlight with that is in Florida, we've also picked up Allstate and MetLife through them. And again, this will automatically come up in your Easy Links Rater. There's nothing different or new you should have to do other than just make sure when you're running an auto quote or looking at auto quotes, and our service team, our back office support team, I should say, knows this. But for you is, making sure you're looking at Allstate and MetLife. We just wrote an Allstate policy in Texas the other day. Pretty cool. Okay. For one of our agents. WeSignature, we've also talked about this. This can be used in a variety of ways. This is on our technology drop down. And I do this and use this quite frequently myself. I'll pull this over here. And really one of the things with WeSignature is not only can you request people's signatures, and again, depending on what process and how you're using our platform, we encourage you to have the back office team do this for you. In a pinch or in a crunch, you are able and can, get the info to bind and send documents out. And we can certainly help you with that process. The concept with this WeSignature is it not only marries and gives you a ability to sign, but you have an ability to do a little video. So if you look here, this was actually something I sent out, and I don't know if, I guess it won't let me click on it here, but basically there's a little video, and it's really as simple as when you go in, if you do something new, and you say, okay, we are signing, like you have to sign and the client has to sign, and you click intro video. That's requiring me. It wants a document in here first. You click intro video, you have 30 seconds to add a little video into your overview. So that's a really cool thing. You can just click film and it'll save it right there. I'm not going to do it again right now and it's not going to let me since we're on Zoom, but one of the questions to ask yourself is, has my client ever seen my face? Has my prospect ever seen my face? If not, this is one other way to do that, right? So we've got that in terms of the technology. We also have the CL file at and PL file at. So again, we want you guys putting notes in the system. It's important. If you're super busy and you're just, like, hey, I'm just really slammed right now, you've got the opportunity to just email or CC CL file at or PL file at, CL for commercial, PL for personal. And then the back office team will put that email in the file for you. Okay. So some marketing ideas that we always just kind of talk through, and I say they work if you work it, visit, email, text, centers of influence, right? Have you written out realtors, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, people that you may already know? Do you have that list? Have you reached out to them? Have you said, hey, I'm in the insurance business. I'd love to be a resource for you. Here's some of the things our agency does. Have you offered to take them for lunch or coffee? Have you offered to do a Zoom meeting with them? And depending on where it's at, if it's local, I'm always happy to be a part just to kind of, help back you up and share what we're doing and how we're different. If you wanted to ever do a Zoom meeting with someone, I'm always happy to do that as well. Remember, we're a team here. It doesn't all have to be on you. Have you gone to LinkedIn or Facebook or gone through your phone to say, who may I know? That's a realtor, a mortgage broker, financial advisor, attorney, CPA. Guys, if we talk about low-hanging fruit, that's probably one of the easiest places to start. And again, kind of like the chef who eats his own food. What did I just share with you? I wrote some commercial insurance this week. Well, where did that lead come from? It came from a financial advisor who, sent a real nice intro email. Hey, contact Doug. He can help you with this, 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 and this. Right. Make a simple goal of 5 proposals a day, and if you say, whoa, there's no way I don't do 5 proposals in a week, then make a goal to say, I'm not leaving. My day doesn't end until I do at least 2 proposals or 1 proposal. I don't care what your number is. The point is the habit of doing it, right? Our $17 Amazon gift card challenge. Again, this is another really easy way, and I pay for this, not you. This is on our website. We've talked about, you can share this in a variety of ways. You can put it on Facebook. You could send it out via email. You could do a text. You could do a LinkedIn post. You could do a mailer. You could do a postcard. You could do a door hanger. You can do all kinds of stuff with this. And basically this is saying, hey, we're going to give you not you, but the client or prospect, a $17 Amazon gift card for the opportunity to review their home and auto insurance. And all we ask is we got to get a copy of your current deck page to make sure we're getting you apples to apples, right? So, most people, when given the option, if you say, hey, I'd love to review your insurance, see if we can save you some money, most people are going to say, sure, go for it. Okay. This is just one more incentive in there to make it, easy for you, very non-threatening, and also value for the client. And then in terms of referrals, right? Referrals are always the best thing you can ever have. If you think about any business, I don't care what it is, I don't care what you're selling, the best type of business you can ever have is referrals, because frankly, the leads are easier, they close faster, and there's less competition. Okay. So, well, how do I get more referrals? Here's some thoughts. Are you asking each new client for a referral? That's a very simple one. And if we're honest, we can all do a better job on that. After you've helped a client, we've talked about, okay, the best time to make a sale is after you've made a sale. But thinking about this is saying, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity for your business here. Who else can you think of? Family, friend, neighbor that may benefit from a review just like we did, and shut up and listen. There's no magic to it, guys. You could put that in an email. You could put that in a text. You could speak that to them. The point is, are you doing it? Are you doing it consistently at all? Right? And again, I know Roy here, done a lot in the life insurance space or doing that. You go back years ago and you look at like Northwestern Mutual, Mass Mutual, and you look at the training those guys did. That was it. That was like the thing. It was thank you notes. They had to send out 3 a day, and they had to ask every person they were working with for a referral. And by the way, here's the other thing. It doesn't just have to be a client you wrote. Let's say you didn't write the client, but you had a good conversation with them. It wasn't adversarial. They didn't hate you. You didn't hate them. Hey, you know what? I really appreciated the opportunity here. I know we didn't earn your business this time. I'm going to pend it on my end for 6 months and follow up with you, right? Which I would do. By the way, that's called X dating. Add that up here. Actually, I have it already up here. Who else can you think of? And just go right in that word track. Who else can you think of? Friend, family, neighbor, coworker. And again, real life stuff. This just happened to me the other day. I spoke to a client, our potential client. She got a postcard from me 3 years ago. This lady saved a postcard from 3 years ago. She loved my daughter's voicemail. I have a funny voicemail from my daughter on my phone. Really nice. She was like, hey, you know what? She actually just called me yesterday. Hey, I know I called you the other day and, I was looking for help with insurance, but I'm so far deep with this other agent. I'm just going to go with her. And I was like, okay, great. Thanks. If I can ever help you in the future, let me know. And then she goes, but as a matter of fact, I help run my brother's business and he's really busy. And he just finished building a 4-unit apartment complex. And I'd like you to quote the insurance for that. Can you do that? Sure. Absolutely. I would love to help you, Annika. Right. So thinking about that, how could you transition from someone you've spoken to, even if you don't get their business, to now potentially getting a referral from them? Okay. Looking at clients you've written over the past 90 or 120 days. So thinking about that. And again, the thought here is as you start to write some business and build a little bit of a book, let's say you weren't able to go to each one in that moment and ask for the referral. Well, you want a good marketing activity? Why don't you pick a day and say, you know what? I'm going to call clients I wrote 30, 60 days ago. Hey, Mr. Client, just want to check in, want to make sure you got everything. You got your policy, you got your paperwork, whatever. That's your reason for calling, number one. And then if they say, oh, no, I didn't, or I've got a problem. Okay, well, then you need to let our service team know to help you. But assuming, oh, yeah, I got everything. I moved in the house or, life's great, whatever. Oh, by the way, I'm looking to grow my business and looking for great clients like yourself. Who else can you think of? Friend, neighbor, family, coworker that I may be able to talk to for an insurance review. Again, you could put it in an email, you could put it in a text, you could call, you could mail. There's a lot of things you can do. The point is, are you doing it or doing anything like it? And I just talked to Roy about this yesterday. Are you targeting areas, homes, and businesses where you've had success? Think about that. So, Roy's identified a few homes that hopefully he's going to get with Edison down in South Florida that are saving clients pretty good money. Okay, well, then the thought is I go to Property Appraiser. I look that home up that I did. And then normally most property appraisers have like a sales query, or you can find homes in that neighborhood. Okay, you could download that. You could pull that. You could write a quick letter, mail out a letter, your business card. Hey, just want to let you know, you don't put who it was. I just helped a neighbor on, maybe you just mentioned the street. I just helped a neighbor on, Main Street save $1,500 a year on their homeowner's insurance. I'd love to give you that same great service. Call or text me. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you did that and did it consistently, and yes, this is the stuff where the rubber meets the road. It's harder. It takes time. It takes planning. You have to think. It's not just spoon-fed. But you start doing that, you're going to get some leads out of that. Okay. And then just always looking, where's there opportunity for flood insurance? Flood insurance is great. It pays us well. People need it. You got to have it. Great opportunity to get 2 lines of business. Okay. So as we go to wrap up, guys, I just always encourage you as well, commit to one big thing over the next 30 days. Hopefully you heard something this morning, something in this training, whether it was on Optimism, whether it was on answering clients' objections, whether it was on some of just the, kind of marketing and referral idea training that we talk about, hopefully there's something in there that you're like, you know what, I really want to run deeper with this, and then commit to doing that over the next 30 days. Write that down, commit to doing that. So if you have any questions, let me know, guys. I always encourage you, dream big and make it happen. I hope you all have a great day. See ya.
Thanks, Doug.